Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Buechler. I'm live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and down in San Diego, or actually El Cajon, is my good friend and co-host, Dennis Bithoulkas. What's up, man?
I'm still in San Diego County.
Yeah, you are.
That's what everyone says. Yeah, I'm still in San Diego County.
You're in East County. County.
Yep. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
It was good. I'm good. I had a good day. It's been a fun week here at the Nerdrotic channel, and we are covering Legion Season 2, Episode 8, Chapter 16. And it's a race to Farouk's body. And
yeah, it is.
Not really short on the trippiness, but this was like, I don't know, it was a fast episode. I know some of the episodes have been longer, and maybe this wasn't longer. I don't know. There was some slow parts, but then there was some fast parts, and we'll start going over it.
Yeah. So before we start, if you haven't seen the episode yet, we're going to spoil the shit out of it. So spoiler alert, here you go. This is your only warning. This is all you get. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it, then come back and watch us. Or if you're like Apple Crow and you don't care, you can stick around and you get spoiled. There you go.
There you go. And yeah, spoiler free review. It's really good. Check out the show. It's one of the best shows on TV. Okay, here we go.
All right. So we open up with Ptonomy in the mainframe, and we see a young Fukuyama and how he came to be part of the mainframe. And he's actually part of a government experiment because they started realizing that telepaths and all this stuff, mutants were around, and they needed something that was kind of more analog, if you will, somebody whose brain they couldn't hack. So this kid was always healing fairly quickly, 17 years old, and he volunteered for it. Not really volunteered, kind of pushed into it too.
What was was the guy's name he was talking to? He was in season 1, right? So he I don't know if he actually died in season 1. I think he did, but so Admiral Fukuyama looked old when he took his basket off, but maybe he's not that old. I thought he looked like he was in his 50s or something like that.
That looked like it was the 1950s that they were, so if you go from the 1950s to now, then yeah.
Okay. So now I'm really confused on time because that guy was in Legion season 1 during David's timeline. So if he was in the 50s and he hasn't aged at all, is he a mutant? Maybe
he could be, or maybe he's a government experiment, some kind of plant.
Yeah. Or I was tripping on that one. I don't know the answer to it, but it definitely looked like it was in the past, and we had a character who was in the present, but we're not really sure what's real in the show anyway.
Logan McLeod said he was blown up in the pilot.
Was it the pilot he was blown up? Yeah, I think it was definitely. Yeah, I think you're right. It was the first couple episodes. I can't totally remember. I will believe you. And yeah, he was in. So the pilot, the aesthetics looked like it was kind of like the 70s a little bit. And it looked like they were really going with the, they were trying to go with the whole first class aesthetic a little bit. But then people started breaking out like iPads and cell phones and stuff. So, it's like a timeless era. And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
So, that's that. So I'm a little confused about that. But I know they know what they're doing. So that, I think, is a big hint to what's going on.
Yeah. And we're starting to see that pretty much everyone that Admiral Fukuyama has come in contact with, that's come in contact with his mind, I guess you could say, are in his mind, are in this mainframe. So the old woman that was reading to him as he was healing up after the experiment, she's in the mind. That's what we saw last episode at the end with Ptonomy. And he sees her reading to Admiral Fukuyama. So we know that's where she comes from. And then he sees a cable, kind of a cut cable kind of getting pulled out and down the hallway. And he follows that to a janitor's closet and finds the monk up in the wall there, and he goes to pull the cord that's attached to the monk, and he ends up seeing where the monastery is, and he sees what the monk sees, and he ends up getting a hold of one of the Vermilion and talking to David, and basically telling David, he goes, "Hey, I know where Farouk's body is."
Yeah, because when Admiral Fukuyama got the monk, the monk had hacked him and he had hacked him back.
Yeah.
So he is now, and he asked if Ptonomy was still alive, and he couldn't really answer. He's like, I don't know, am I alive? I'm not really sure. I'm in a mainframe right now. I really don't know. His body is hooked up to some tree, some electronic tree. And yeah, this show is just getting trippier as it goes.
Yeah. And he tells David that basically Farouk's body is in a place called Les Desoles. Les Désolé. Les Désolé.
Les Désolé.
Yeah, which is basically the desolate, for those of you who know better French than I do, since mine is very, very remedial. And we I thought
it was Spanish.
My Spanish is actually, a lot better than my French, but not by much. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca, Pedro?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. That's the extent of it. So we see Oliver driving down the road, and it turns into Farouk. And well, actually, I take that back. We have Oliver driving down the road. He goes to an old woman's house, goes inside, and he says, "Do you remember me? Can you see who I am?" And she's blind, and she notices that it's Farouk that's riding around in Oliver's body. And it turns out that he knew her when she was younger. And
maybe he was riding around in her, or it looked like she was like helped him in some aspect or another.
She was a hearse driver, so she drove his body out to the monastery, is what I got. And she knows where Farouk's body is, and she knows the professor. That's how she knows him. And I guess they had talked while he was in the sarcophagus in the hearse. That's the reason why he knows her.
Okay, so he maybe took her body for a little bit of a ride.
I think he was just too weak, but that he could communicate. That was about it.
Yep. And yes, she knows where the professor, and we got a simple, she asked where the professor was, and he said, not here.
Exactly.
Which could mean anything. So
yeah. And
real quick though, backtrack.
Yeah.
When Ptonomy was walking around inside the mainframe, he got grabbed by like some faceless guy, looking like he was meditating or something like that. And that faceless guy was kind of talking to him. I totally got a Professor X vibe off that. I don't know why. I just saw like a bald guy in the background. I'm like, oh, and then nah, it wasn't. It was just some robed guy with no face. And I had no idea. There's a couple things I have no idea what the hell they were. I have no theories. I just like, okay.
It might have been another monk.
Maybe.
Yeah. Is what I'm thinking.
Any theories in the chat, because I have no clue.
Yeah. And so forgiveness here. We're going to go through this episode a little bit quickly just so we can get to the chat here, and then also our discussion about what we theorize and all that kind of stuff. So we're going a little faster on this. So she says she knows where the body is located, and in exchange for the endless dream, she'll tell him where it's at. Which the endless dream just pretty much looks like he killed her, from what it looked like to me.
Yeah, or she's just in a coma or something, or in some state, or she's in the astral plane, or maybe just killed her body. And but she knew about it, and she was happy to be there. So
So then we see David going into the tank to find out where the location of the body is, and he does find it. He sees where it's at, and then all his selves end up talking to each other. This is the first like really clear time we've heard all the voices, all the Davids talking to each other. Should we tell them? I don't know. No, we shouldn't tell them. We shouldn't tell them because otherwise he'll know. We shouldn't tell him. And so that's basically all the Davids agreeing that they shouldn't tell anybody else where the body is, which is very meta. But you know what? I think my brain's being rewired for this show. Really, a little bit.
Yeah. And also, I mean, they had like different dialects too.
Yes, they did. They all had different pitches to their voice, and different accents too, which is kind of a weird little thing. And so he decides to lead them all in different directions. And we see David standing over a map, much like Westworld's map, but smaller, like the map room, and putting little pins in the desert. And we see all these people going out into the desert in different areas, him flipping off Farouk's.
I know. His little flag.
His little flag.
A cupcake or something like that.
Yeah. So we see like Clark out in the desert. We see Vermilion out in the desert. basically, and the carries out in the desert as well, and they're all going out in different places. So it's kind of odd that he was sending them out there for different things, but we don't know exactly what that was for.
Well, that was just, I don't know if we were looking in the past or that was just him formulating his. But it was probably just him formulating his plan in his head.
It might have been
it for us.
Yeah, because we still don't know what his plan is as of yet. So we see Lenny Amy, or what are we calling her now?
Lemmy.
Yeah. So Lemmy snapping her fingers back and forth in her cell when David comes by to visit, and he starts, talking about how things were, how she's doing, all this kind of stuff, and then he just ends up snapping his fingers and disappearing, and she seems kind of perplexed as to what's going on. It's kind of a weird scene, and he starts walking down the hallway, and we see Carrie and Clark, there, walking in the hall, and he stops them and kind of snaps his fingers in front of their face, and we see a picture of a tuning fork out in the desert, which I think is in the monastery up in the bell tower.
Yeah, and he said this won't hurt a bit.
Yeah.
So he's either planting something in their head, but another thing they've in this episode is time and space are kind of up in the air, especially with that beginning with Admiral Fukuyama. We don't know when we are, and have no idea. Like, we know where, just not when. So there's a lot of that. There was rewinding. There was all kinds of crap going on.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on. This is probably the strangest episode. Wasn't the best episode of the series, but it gave a lot of information.
Yep.
So
I like it.
Yeah, I liked it too. So we see Syd reading a note from David as she's making tea, going to kill the monster. And she's like, shit, pretty much. And we see David out in the desert, and he's walking as Farouk is driving and spouting poetry about America, about what he gave America for $2.67.
27 cents.
27 cents, excuse me. Which I thought was pretty funny as he was going through the desert, and basically saying that David was a day behind, but would spend his entire life, waste his entire life in the desert, trying to find this place.
Because it exists both. Well, it's a space-time anomaly. So yes, the monastery moves, so they hide themselves from. And this is probably all to do with Professor X actually having to do with this. So keep Farouk from his body, and yeah, David, when he first gets there, he puts his thumb up and he sees the monastery. He's all, that was easy. Yeah, I'll just walk over there. What I don't understand is why he just doesn't teleport over there, because he teleported there.
Yeah, but, exactly.
Maybe he can't. So
I don't know. I think the monastery might have some kind of dampening fields kind of thing, like kind of like what Syd says later on, which we'll get to here. So Syd is sitting down with Clark, and they're talking about men problems, and how talk. Yeah, it was girl talk about pushing David away, and that he left and he's going after Farouk. And they talk about David and how she thinks he's telling lies all the time now, that he can't be trusted. And then Clark goes, he's pretty much the most powerful mutant in the world. And if you piss him off, that's how, if you hurt him and piss him off, that's how the world's going to end.
Yeah, he said, well, he could probably destroy the world anyway because he wants to, or because his girlfriend hurt his feelings. So let's, if he wants to, that's one thing, but let's not try to push him towards it.
Yeah. And we see Melanie outside eavesdropping on the conversation here.
Yeah. Who we have not seen a lot this season at all.
Yeah, we haven't seen her quite a bit at all, on this. So David ends up setting his plans in motion by releasing Lemmy remotely, and she ends up stealing a really nice Triumph bike. That was actually a very classic motorcycle, and riding off.
Somebody left the key in, and
I know.
So they must have been running in for a second to Division 3. They forgot their lunch in there or something like that, or I don't know.
Well, there was a couple of Triumphs that were sitting there, so
yeah. But
I noticed.
Yeah, the one with the keys in it.
I know.
So I know. Hollywood.
But that's the way it always is.
Yeah.
And then we see Farouk and Oliver in a rickshaw getting pulled across the desert.
By the way, I mean, it's not like it's hard to rip those things off. They just didn't have screen time to do it. But honestly, it would have taken another 30 seconds. Maybe. But yeah, the Oliver and Farouk and the rickshaw, that poor rickshaw runner.
Man, just running
Oh,
across the desert.
yeah.
And Farouk says the monastery appears and disappears. And that's how the professor had done this. Why he put it there is so that he couldn't find his body, so he can never get back into it, which makes sense. If you're a disembodied spirit or psyche trying to find your body and it keeps moving around, that's the perfect way of doing it. It
Yeah.
moves
Oh,
in
yeah.
time and space. And then we have a really weird thing where Syd just kind of parachutes in to where David's at in the
That
desert.
was rad. I loved it, man. You just see like he's going to get some water and a jet flies over, and then you see a parachute, and it's Syd dressed to the nines, and then she kicks the shit out of him.
She kicks him in the shin. Yeah, she's basically pissed at him. And then he says, okay, well, the place that we're looking for is called Désolé. And he tells her, about that he almost got to it, but it keeps disappearing. So that's why he's kind of weirded out by this. And then we cut over to another John Hamm talk about delusion, about other people don't see one another in their delusion, and how the world you see through the prism is the real world. You think is the real world.
You think is the real world. It's the shadow. This was my favorite one by far. This was my favorite one.
And
how it relates to the story, I don't know, but I have no theories.
And the delusion of the narcissist is the only thing that they think is real.
Yeah. They were using it by they were using like a bunch of people in a cave looking at the world, but just as shadows. And then they showed a girl on her cell phone, and basically kind of what's going on the internet right now. Even it was very meta with what's going on with fan communities right now, and how they're split, and how we're unpersoning people on both sides, and that makes it easier to give them shit because they're not people. They're shadows. It was a very interesting way to look at it, I thought. And very
we never
cool.
get any of that though.
Not in the chat, no.
No, we don't. No, we don't get that in the chat.
Not in the chat. Maybe one or two in the comments. Not enough to even talk about, really.
Yeah. I was trying to be funny there, and it was a bad joke. Never mind.
No, I've seen it in communities I go to sometimes. Yeah, it's yeah.
So I can get really. Yeah, they gave a little example of a woman talking about inequality of women being paid, and someone saying, "Are you fat? You sound like you're fat." And they show the person who's writing this, and it's just this big fat guy sitting in his underwear, kind of laughing as he's typing it in. It was just very, very on point, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Except I don't know. I think more reality that would have been a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes. Then we have lightning coming across the desert, and Syd and David come across a campsite, an abandoned campsite, and they go inside and find two skeletons in bed that are actually themselves, and like, holy shit, is that us? And then it kind of replays again, and they walk back in again. They, holy shit, is that us? And yeah, it's just very kind of odd. They're like, okay, how are we going to get out of here? And this is where Syd says there's something geologically wrong with this place. And that's the reason why they can't find it.
Yeah.
Geographically wrong.
And and I thought they were going to like do it over and over again. Thankfully they only did it twice. But that was enough for it to show that they were in kind of a loop.
Yeah. Maybe. That they were basically being run through a hamster wheel. And she says something that's actually fairly interesting. She says, when the time comes, prove me wrong.
Right. Yeah. Syd's been pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
And, because she knows David's been lying to her.
Yeah.
It may be for a good reason. It probably isn't. We don't know. And we know David's not stable, even though it is his power. I think we're leading to is there's going to probably be way more aspects to his power than we even know. That wouldn't surprise me at all. The Farouk, I'm glad they're getting to Farouk's body. And I think we're going to actually get to this in the next couple episodes. And we're going to find out that like kind of what we thought in the beginning, which is Farouk might not be the big bad in this one. And it might not be something obvious like David, it might be something else. We'll see.
Yeah. And
Right.
so David's basically Sid asks, hopefully you have a plan. And David says, well, I think something's going to happen, and we end up seeing Clark asleep, and he has a dream, and finding the clock is what he's been told. So this
The
is
clock of the long now.
the clock of the not long now, yeah, which I think is that tuning fork that everyone keeps seeing, right? I'm hoping that's what it is. And so Clark wakes up, grabs his cane, starts walking down the hallway, and he's walking down the hallway, and Melanie beams him, knocks him out. But then something weird happens, and everything kind of rewinds. And goes back, and we see Melanie. We follow Melanie back into her room, and she's clutching that elephant again. She's been smoking the elephant. And we go zoom into her eye, and we see that Farouk has taken her over.
Through Oliver. Yeah.
Through Oliver, yeah.
Then it goes to black.
Well, yeah, it fades to black, and the last image we see is of the Minotaur standing over with drool coming out of its, I guess you could say, skull.
The Burning Man Monitor. Yes. And that's how it ended. And so that's the second thing. I have no effing clue what it is and what it means is the Minotaur. Yeah, it's that and the faceless guy sitting down meditating inside the mainframe. So if you guys could, is that Ed Brewer? Hello, Ed Brewer. How you doing? Mako, Viking Bitch, SD3 Movie Finobi. Who else is here? Artemis over easy, which is
Bad Wobot, Amari Daniels.
What's up, everybody? Luke Lucas. So yeah, we're gonna get to the chat because there's so much of it. Yeah, it was just basically a race to Farouk's body. We got a Professor X reference, which was pretty cool. They've actually said they've shown him, but I don't know if they've ever said. They didn't say Professor Xavier, but they said the professor.
They said the professor. So, and they showed him in drawings. That's about it. I'm
guessing that episode that got added on at the end of the season is going to have Patrick Stewart in it. That's just me. But
someone just said that at the very end there of our comments.
Really? Yeah, I did not see it. I see if either side wants to win the race, Farouk's body, they need Quicksilver. That's
Mako actually says since David is a villain, we might see him fighting Xavier like they do in the comics. That could be at the very end there where, basically Papa needs to come in and spank him a little bit and tell him, you got to be good.
All right, we're glad you're hanging with us, Ed Brewer. You could always go back. He'll still be going. Comics will still be going when we're done, I'm sure. Who knows? Maybe I'll go over there.
And Viking Bitch says, did you catch all the previews for next week? More Melanie.
Yes, I did. There is more Melanie, and there's more Lemmy as well. Lemmy on the loose.
Lemmy on the lamb.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be another one of those episodes where we get to Farouk's body, and then we're going to go on a side adventure, and then we're going to get to Farouk's body the episode after. But the side adventures are so fun in this show, I actually don't care. I'm totally fine.
I just hope we have another dance-off.
Oh, we will, dude.
That's what I want. Or a Bollywood scene or something. Because, dude, those things are actually really a lot of fun. I don't know. They're really kind of cool. And they work well into they work into the fabric of all these episodes. So they're cool.
The professor is too busy with the X-Men making sure that Deadpool doesn't see them. Right?
Amari Daniels, though, was surprised to read this one article today from back in April that sort of hinted at an 11th episode well before FX actually announced the extra episode.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Link it in the comments if you can. I'd like to read it. Or I could Google it. I can find it. Maybe that's something they always had planned, but we'll get to that to the end.
Maybe it was just they didn't have enough money. And then they decided, we do have some money, and they threw it in.
Do not be surprised if this is the next show we're saving. Real soon.
Yeah. Bad Wobot says, just finished the episode. Really going to need to explore this one. Very confusing. Yeah.
This one requires a second viewing because I'm sure I missed a lot. And I actually wasn't totally interrupted by my son tonight. My son likes to watch it with me and then ask me. I'm like, okay, got to kind of be quiet, son. And then he's all, what's that, Dad? Who's that? Is he an X-Men? I'm like, yes, he's an X-Men son.
Luke Lucas says, I like how the show is bat crap crazy, but still sort of follows narrative structure. Episode starts with Ptonomy hijacking a Vermilion to talk to David, who hatches a plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about this show is, and like I just said during this recap that we did, I feel like my brain's been rewired in order to understand the show a little bit better. Just from watching the last, season and what, more than half there now. And I feel like I'm in tune with it now. I really dig this show. It's like nothing else on TV. The visuals are amazing. The story's amazing. And I mean, even when we're following them in the desert, I mean, we have a lot of people just walking in the desert quite a bit, but we have a lot of split screens that are moving. So it's like moving comic panels, which were done way better than Ang Lee did it in Hulk.
No, that's what I was thinking too. That's how I even wrote that down. I was like, that's way better than Ang Lee, and that was also a thing. In the early 2000s, a lot of people were doing that with not just comic show, but with just shows. Alias did that, right? And I thought they did it really well. And I loved the narration on this one. The whole, the whole narcissism thing, and even slightly mentioning, kind of like the narcissism by proxy thing, where when we're alone and we don't, when we spend too much time by ourselves and isolated, we don't bounce our ideas off of one another. We start thinking every idea we have is great, and people,
until you get scrutiny. That's the whole thing.
And then you freak out.
And then you get pissed off, and you're like, because you get defensive. It's like, no, but my idea is great.
I said so. Yeah. I thought of it. It's awesome.
We say that all the time. So
yeah.
Mako says, I'm not quite sure this show is meant to be a mystery show like Westworld. It's much too surreal for that kind of analysis. Yeah, it's not really a mystery. It's more of, I think you just kind of need to relax and let it happen. As bad as that may sound. But you kind of let it wash over you and take it all in, and then do another repeat of it and see how you feel. Maybe talk it out a little bit amongst yourselves.
Yeah, it's visually, it's a visual show first. Like that's, I mean, there's great storytelling in it, but no, they is completely visual, and it's supposed to be because it's based on a very trippy comic by a very trippy comic artist, and they are just following that rabbit hole. That's what it is. It's supposed to be an acid trip. This is surreal TV, at its best. At its best. And it's The Prisoner. You're right. Mako, I think, and even Silver Spike has said it. Like, it's The Prisoner.
Yeah. Viking Bitch says, well, the most disturbing delusion is thinking that other people don't matter. Both David and Farouk are doing that. Yeah.
Yep.
They are doing that with the whole human race, basically. Farouk more so than David. David, I think because he's in contact with all his others, he is more disconnected from everyone and is more of a threat than Farouk, where Farouk sees people as playthings, things to control. David just sees himself. And that's why I think these narrations are more geared towards. They're more geared towards explaining David than they are everyone else.
Yeah, sense. And maybe David doesn't feel alone because there's so many people in his head. That he just doesn't feel alone and feels like he is getting a difference of opinion. It's kind of messed up.
Yeah, especially when you answer yourself.
Did you get Mako's here? Since David is the villain, we might see him fighting Xavier.
Yeah,
like they do in the comics. Okay, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Omari Daniel says, also, I know how Syd showed up to David's location as quickly as she did. She swiped the X-Jet.
Right? Well, we couldn't see it for sure. Why not?
I probably call him Colossus because him and Negasonic Teenage Warhead are still in the mansion by themselves.
Yep. Oh my god, what was Negasonic's girlfriend's name again? I keep forgetting it. Hi Yuki.
Hi Yuki. Hi Yuki.
Hi Deadpool. Hi Wade.
Oh man. I need to go back and see that again. And Lucas says, yep, Phoebe, that's not John Hamm, that's Don Draper narrating. It totally is. Bad Robot says David is sizing up to be a villain. He's disconnecting. I really hope they don't go that way too obviously, and I think the team is above that. Yeah, I think because in the comic he goes villain, but he comes back again. It's very weird. It's a very weird, surreal story. Hard to explain.
Well, he's never a good guy in the sense of like
No.
Spider-Man. Okay.
No.
He's, you know, I would guess a bad analogy would be Venom Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
You know? So dark. The whole segment was just isolated from the rest of the episode, like a big brain punch. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of.
It was.
And
it was really fucking dark. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, they do this specifically. I look at this as Noah Hawley's psychological experiment on viewers, because you see a lot of psychology being used, a lot of philosophy. This is actually what the Wachowskis were trying to do with the Matrix, but actually done at a college level instead of a grade school level. That's all I'm going to say, because they're
well, listen, the Matrix got away from him. Well, that's a podcast for another day, because the first Matrix was freaking genius.
Yeah, the first Matrix is awesome, but yeah.
I was surprised at the social media angle from SD3 movie Ptonomy. Usually concepts are more heady, but certainly relevant. Yeah, that was a bit of a shift, and I was afraid it was going to get a little preachy. I'm like, oh, here we go. Cell phones are fucking bad. And so, hang on a second. Oh, and yeah, cell phones are bad. Whatever. Yeah. But no, I liked where they went with it.
Pulled up. Yeah.
Yeah. They pulled up, and didn't get preachy, and it was relevant. And what Viking Bitch said, it actually is relevant to both Farouk and David. And that's what I wrote in my notes. I'm like, well, they have to be relating this to either Farouk or David, and maybe it's just both. And I'm thinking here, I'll just come out and say it, that when Farouk, because we're dealing with this in Westworld too, when Farouk gets to his body, so his head has been, or his consciousness has been out of his body for so long that it has been looking through other people's eyes, that like his mind might reject this reality when it goes to his body. And another thing I was thinking is the Shadow King, the big Mojo looking one we have that we've seen a couple times this season. Maybe that's what his body looks like now.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Like, we don't know what his body looks like now. So how come we keep seeing, I'm assuming that's David's interpretation of what the Shadow King was in his head.
Yeah.
But what if that's what his body looks like now? What if it's all bloated and bleh, you know? That would be horrifying for him. Yeah, I think Farouk's in for a big surprise, especially since he looks like he's kind of winning kind of easily, and he looks so happy that I'm like, oh, I'm wondering. I think that'd be really interesting.
I think so too. Artemis over Easy says, like said above, it follows a basic narrative, but the presentation of acid-inducingly good and a bit frustrating at times. Yeah, you really have to work at it. Unlike other shows, sometimes sometimes you're given things, sometimes you have to work for things. This one, you really have to work through a good majority of the episode. But it seems like for me, the seasons, the whole season fits together as one big story, and you're not given the entire story until you've watched the entire season. At least that's how it feels like to me. That's mapped out. Yeah,
this I have a feeling this is a show much better binged.
Yeah,
than week to week, I have to say. So, and I think that's where it got a lot of its success from, was after it aired, it was their second most profitable show on FX, the second most profitable show on FX, which is saying something. And it's not super duper expensive. I mean, they have some set pieces and stuff, but there's not a ton of special effects. So I don't know. I'm hoping so, but yeah, we might have to have a Save Legion hashtag here soon.
Yeah, we might. So there was one little question here. Luke Lucas says Farouk's sunglasses are very much like the honeycomb windows in Division 3. I don't know what you're talking about, as you can see by my background.
Whoa. That's a good point. Now, I think my theory from last week was that he hacked Ptonomy, and Farouk is in the mainframe.
Yeah, that's what
through
I'm saying
Ptonomy.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he had the delusion. Ptonomy still has the delusion in him, and his body's hooked up to the mainframe. So the mainframe has to be infected now with
Well,
the
the
delusion.
delusion grew big,
Oh, that's right, and
exploded
popped
out
out.
of him,
Yeah.
and then David popped it. But they kept on talking about distractions. Well, that big delusion running down the hallway was a distraction, and then they hooked Ptonomy up to the mainframe to save his mind. Could be
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
It could be nothing, but that would be one way to get in. And if they know where the body was, but he found out where the body was, so I guess maybe not. Like he just went back. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, he did hack Ptonomy because that's how he found the old lady who was reading to
Mhm.
Admiral Fukuyama. So yes,
Yeah.
Farouk did hack Ptonomy.
Yep.
There you go. That's how he found out.
Bad Robot says, I'm sure Holly has to adapt, but definitely think he has a strong command of his narratives. Carlton Cause lost my faith with the progression of the strain.
Oh, the show, The Strain. Oh, yeah.
I didn't see it. Was it any good or?
You know what? I just it wasn't terrible. I just forgot to keep up with it. This was before we were like covering shows when it started. So I think if we were covering shows, we probably would have stuck with it. But
Jody says at Mako, I always felt that Legion was more of a supervillain's origin story, but with very heavy psychedelic elements.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Scrolling down a little bit more, Movie Fanobi says at Mako, yeah, they brought in the split personalities again, and it was awesome in my surround sound. They were panting from speaker to speaker. Yeah, I've got the 7.1 surround sound system now hooked up in my place, and yeah, they were kind of bouncing around a little bit. It was kind of cool.
I love it when they do that.
Yeah, we've talked about the sound in this show. The sound in the show is just freaking amazing. The way they do things. Yeah,
absolutely the best. Technically, this show's the best. It's got the best editing, the best visuals, the best cinematography, the best directing, the best sound. It should win all the Emmys.
Yeah.
Not that we care about those things because we don't.
Viking bitches. I used to daydream about going insane and then coming back to sanity, but retaining the memories of insanity. That is what this show is for me.
You too? Oh, I thought I was the only one. Thank God.
Well, that's what happens. You live in a cave, man.
I lived under a bush, not a cave. Okay. I would have loved a cave. A cave would have been comfortable. Like that Monty Python. You slept on the floor. I slept outside. You know, yeah, you got to listen to that. Got to really be into Monty Python to hear that one. Where they're trying to outdo each other, where how poor they were. It was funny. Good stuff.
Mako says the real villain never sees himself as the villain. Hence, Farouk and his peasant colonizers are bad, sad story. Yeah, you know, he says he liberated these people, and that it's been that way, you know, from the past. But yeah, he never sees himself as being the villain. That he's just helping these people, and I think the same thing is going to be said for David here when all is said and done, because he is playing now his friends in Division 3 by planting shit in their minds and sending them out. He's seeing them as playthings. He's not looking at them as even being human at this point, but just putting his plans in motion.
I don't know if he's not looking at them as human, but he's definitely violating them. Putting stuff in your friend's mind. Okay, if we want to go so far as we have superpowers and we can mess around in your mind, going into somebody's mind is violating them. That is horribly wrong.
Yeah.
I think he thinks he's doing good and protecting them, but he's being a complete narcissist about it. Absolutely. And if there's any area in the world that would know narcissism, it's Hollywood. There is a brilliant comic called Lex Luthor, Man of Steel by Brian Azzarello. It explores the whole Superman story from Lex's perspective. Yes, I've read it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And are you saying, is that what we in now? Possibly.
I say so.
Jody. Yeah.
Bad Robot says he would be the epitome of the villain that thinks he's a hero role. Yeah.
If they got Professor X for an episode or two, I would die. That would make an amazing plot line. That says Bad Robot. Yes, it would be great. And I think it's a possibility. I mean, Patrick Stewart was on a talk show saying, "I want to be on the show." I mean, they've passed stuff like that up before. We've seen that happen before. But I think if Patrick Stewart is out there, and why not? Why not?
Yeah. Mako says, I wouldn't be surprised if Noah wants to present Professor X as a villain from David's perspective of this story. Not sure Fox will let him, though.
Well, if we get to Farouk's body and we find out that Farouk's been shown to be kind of a asshole, though. There's no way to turn that around. But maybe like he was good to his people.
After what he
And
did to Lemmy and Amy,
yeah,
Mamie,
he's not. Yeah, it's pretty irredeemable.
You can't really go back from that. Yeah, I mean, you basically violated one person and bringing another person back, and you were torturing that other person and then sticking them into that person's body. It's just wrong all the way around.
Right. Luke Lucas says YouTube is being controlled by Farouk. I hope not. We did get demonetized before this thing started, so that's a possibility.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes. Jody says, and what's cool is this: if we woke up one day and found out some alien that looked like us was flying around stopping crimes and averting disasters, how would we respond?
Oh, like Lex Luthor. Come on, let's be real. It's like, he's just waiting to take us over. I think it's, and actually, that's where Division 3 isn't completely wrong. Okay. I mean, that's what's so cool about the X-Men story. And I know I'm over the whole hunted and feared thing because they never show they always show the other side as being just bigot Nazis. And Division 3, Noah Hawley has gone that extra step by showing, okay, yeah, they're still government and they're morally gray to be nice, but you have level 5 mutants running around, who could kill people. We saw it in Logan with Professor X when he's stroking out, he's killing people. It's like, it sucks. It sucks you're a mutant. It sucks that happened, but like the people do need protection, and they've never really done a great job until now telling that other side of the story. Because they want to keep it simple. They want to just keep it, mutants are an allegory for this. It's like, we've done that and that's cool. They are, and they have been, but I think we're ready for a more layered story from the X-Men. We get this from Legion.
What was it Deadpool said? Yeah, the X-Men, allegory for 1960 civil rights that's, now long gone.
Yep.
Something like,
yeah. And that's, there's so much more to them. I've been saying that forever, and if Fox is starting to figure that out, now they're going to sell them to Disney. So
David Latham says best part of Legion is Syd Barrett. I mean, what else out there would reference the Crazy Diamond?
I have to agree with you. That really hooked me into this show as a ginormous Pink Floyd fan, and a Syd Barrett fan. Yes, I'm a Syd Barrett Pink Floyd fan, which is like one album, but some of his solo stuff before he went completely nuts was good. And it's a very sad story. It's a really, really sad story.
Yeah. He says walking not in hallways was a bit slow, Gary. Haha.
Yeah, there's a little bit of walk around, but see, I love the desert, so I kind of like it.
I just like the split screens. I mean, they did an awesome job.
Too. And they also, I mean, I know they tried to make it look like they were in the Gobi Desert or something like that, but no, they were in Death Valley. They walked by a yucca tree.
They were just right outside of, just beyond that little cliff that Kirk was at with the Gorn.
Yeah. I used to camp out there all the time. I know it well. I know it well. I love it out there. It's freaking beautiful out there. If you've never been to the Death Valley or to Joshua Tree go. It's mind blowing.
Omari Daniel says somehow the young admiral being experimented on looked more horrifying than the Weapon X experiments. What do you mean, cracking his brain open and shoving some wires in there and seeing where everything plugs in?
Yeah, that was pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Luke Lucas says, yeah, Gary, are we saying he time traveled?
I'm saying he time traveled. Yes. I'm saying there was, they showed time travel in this, time and space. And we're seeing an old guy who was old in the present timeline 50, 60 years ago. So yeah, I'm saying there's time travel.
And Omar Daniel says, yeah, I think the guy talking to the Admiral is the same guy from season 1. He was with Clark during David's interrogation. Yeah. Okay, now he's coming back
I
to me.
heard the name Brubaker, but I could be wrong.
Might be. Bad Robot says the writing is getting more complex, and I feel like the acting just keeps getting better and better. They're all so on board.
Yeah, it's you could tell everybody's into this show. Noah Hawley is like apparently extremely popular amongst. So is Brian Fuller, though. I mean, they're very similar in their creativity. Just one is much better in the follow through. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I will watch any show by this guy now. Like this is he's the kind of guy I will follow. Like whatever he puts out, we'll cover on this. If he wants to do a freaking sitcom, I will cover it on this show.
Luke Lucas says Lemmy isn't changing back and forth anymore when she snaps. I think Amy is truly gone. Lenny is detoxed and done with withdrawals.
Maybe. I think it's pretty weird how I'm blanking on her name now. Aubrey Plaza is acting with Amy's mannerisms, and it took me a minute to figure it out. I'm like, why does she look so different? And it's not just the eyes, okay? It's something else, and she's using her mannerisms.
Yeah,
and it's amazing. Yeah,
and they've also put in little cheekbone implants, enhancers to make her look
something makeup wise. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. Bad Robot says, I think I was confused by most of this episode, even more so than multiple Davids.
Yeah, no. I was totally I'm still completely confused by this episode, but entertained. But they will. Yes, it was Brubaker. That was the guy's name, and he was in episode 1, played by David Selby.
We know
David Selby. Yeah, it's no relation to William Selby. So it was the same guy.
Luke Lucas says, didn't the monastery used to be in a lovely green place? Maybe it turned into a desert because it's full of mirages. They actually said that it was because of Farouk trying to get out and just poisoning everything around that valley, that he turned it into a desert because of all the madness that he had spread.
Psychic energy.
Yeah, the psychic energy. It just killed everything. Yeah.
He just killed it being so negative.
Exactly.
So negative.
Movie Fanobi says, yes, Amy shows in teaser. So I think it's remnants of her body, mind. She's in there unless it's a very old flashback.
Yeah, I think she's on her way out. I will agree with you that. I think
she's actually on another show, if I remember correctly. The actress, they said that she got signed on.
I think because we originally heard, because we reported it here, and we're always rock solid on our reporting. No, we're not. Okay, we're not. We're not reporters. We're not the New York Times. Okay, we are just a couple of blokes. But we did report that she was not originally going to be in season 1. And I guess that she tested so well that they talked her into it or something like that. Because I definitely remember reading that and hearing that in a couple places. That was before they started production and started writing. So maybe it was just negotiation. Who knows? I'm glad she's back. And they found a weird way to bring her back. And it was effed up. And I'm okay with it. I'm sorry. Sorry, Amy. Sorry, but I need Lenny.
So do you think these actors, like we had the guy from Wonder Woman, I can't remember his name right now, who was supposed to play the Shadow King and then bailed?
To be Farouk and bailed.
Yeah. Do you think they regret it when they see these episodes?
They must. I mean, like, he bailed to be in Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah.
Which he'll be in like maybe 10 minutes. Like, so he bailed a whole series where. And it originally we had heard, and they had to reshoot some of it.
Yeah.
Like they had already shot him. So they reshot some of this. And this guy's great. So I forgot his name now, but like he's really good. I'm glad they got him.
Yeah.
I think it worked out for the best.
As an actor, you have to kind of, when you go back and look at some of this stuff and go, holy shit, I actually turned that down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. I bet you that happens to him all the time.
Yeah.
And it might have been their agent. And you got to think about it from their perspective. And they're still thinking like old Hollywood, which I mean, 5 years ago, it's like, you're going to be in this big hit Wonder Woman movie. But yeah, dude, you would have been a star of a series on a big cable network that's got tons of buzz that frankly is better than Wonder Woman, and better than most superhero movies. Okay. As we've been saying since we started this podcast, TV is where it's at.
Hey, we missed an actual money here. We got $1.99 from Penn Farm Girl. She didn't attach anything to it, but thank you.
Thank you, Penn Farm Girl. Now we're not demonetized. Not that it mattered. That's you just gave us way more than we would have gotten for this video.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Penn Farm Girl. Appreciate it.
Jody says, Gary and Dennis, let's be honest. If they can get Patrick Stewart on any show, they would only serve to make the show even more awesome. Yeah.
There's no, I mean, I think it's happening, guys. I could be wrong, but they made a big deal out of it when he said so. And they saw the response, and the response was, "Oh my God, yeah." And maybe they don't wait. I don't think it would be good to wait till the end. Well, maybe to get a season 3.
Possibly.
I think it's better to do stuff like that in the middle. Get people into your show that's on right now.
Or even tease it at the beginning and kind of like show the end at the beginning, and then go, wait a minute, we need to go backtrack here for a second, and then show the entire season, and then you get to that.
Right. We're gonna wrap things up here in a couple minutes. Yes, Ed Brewer, Amazon came through. It's as far as the Expanse is concerned, it's not a closed deal yet, so you still want to go out there and show tons of support and save the Expanse. But just between us here, it's a done deal. It's done. Hollywood Reporter and Deadline would not. I mean, if you read down through both those articles, they both said it's pretty much a done deal.
Yeah.
And those two are pretty legit sources.
And they've been talking for a while. It's been actually, I think they knew that it was getting canceled a couple of weeks back. It just wasn't official. And then when it was official, Amazon was already talking with them.
Yeah, that's what I have heard.
Yeah.
I have heard that Amazon was already talking, and like actors didn't know this or anything. Like this has all been in the pipeline, or maybe they did and they're not letting on. But yeah, fingers crossed. I think it's gonna have. I mean, like I wouldn't be surprised. I think a great time for an announcement would be after tomorrow night's show airs on the West Coast, or the Thursday morning or something like that. They did drop this news on a Friday, Thursday night, right? It was a Thursday night. Yeah, it was like late Thursday night. Yeah. They dropped the news. They really dropped it late at night. So they might make the announcement late at night. Because I was about to go to bed when I heard it. So it was forgive me, somebody tweeted at me and I went on a video. And I just want to reiterate that according to the Hollywood Reporter, it's done. Their headline was, "It's renewed. Season 4 is happening on Amazon." Now they do go on the article saying they're still in talks, but Hollywood Reporter's headline was, "It's renewed." So you can take that however way you want. I think they're saying it's renewed. So that's the way I'm taking it. And it's Hollywood Reporter. They don't bullshit on that stuff. They're not the Inquirer. They're not clickbait. But on this show, I am a little worried.
Yeah, I am too. I'm very worried.
So the ratings are not great. I don't think this relies as heavily on overnight as Expanse did, because they repeat the show. I don't know though.
Plus it plays not only on the FX Now app, but also on the Fox app, because Fox actually has combined all their FX Now, all that kind of stuff together. So it actually plays out, and they actually promote it on that too, on that app, which is cool.
Yeah, and what we need to do is, for a show you love, I know you guys have a life and stuff, but try to watch it at least for now live, or at least I wish the shows would tell their fans tell us the best way to watch. Can we wait 3 days to watch it on DVR, or a week, or what? I mean, communicate to us before you cancel. And that's why sometimes I think when they cancel shows and they get picked up, I think it's all kind of, I'm kind of jaded that way. Sometimes I think it's all just part of the whole marketing scheme, which it could be, everything is planned out in Hollywood. Everything. Except for me too. That was not planned out.
Me either.
Going to review Thundercats Roar. Says, how's your fun?
Yeah, no.
No.
Nope.
No.
But we will review My Little Pony. Oh, there you go.
At least My Little Pony is faithful to its source material. Okay, I will give it that.
It is. Mako says the Lenny part was written for a 50-year-old man, but they picked Aubrey Plaza. Oh, $5. Thank you. Because she was such a good actress.
Agreed. I've always thought she was a great actress. Bad Wobot. I feel Xavier's coming, but I'll love it either way. But not as much. But I still love Legion. Absolute Bad Wobot. Me too. Just fucking love this show. Oh my God, we're at 3,300 subs.
Nice.
I have no desire to surpass Doomcock. We have surpassed Doomcock for now. But wait till Star Trek Discovery comes out. This is his year.
Rise.
If you're watching Doomcock when Star Trek Discovery comes out, you watch his channel. It's gonna get up to like 20K. Trust me. He blows that. He's great. Oh, by the way, now that I mention it, had a little chat with Doomcock. A little chat down in the center of the earth. The reception was not very good. I may or may not be one of his robots, by the way. I've never said I wasn't. Okay. Dennis. So there's a possibility that he will be joining us.
Nice.
Very soon. Pay attention to Twitter, Facebook, and the website announcement. I think he's going to try to get on the Expanse recap tomorrow and maybe even join us Friday. He's invited to both. I told him he's not obligated or anything. If he's, I know it's kind of late, I don't know what the time zone is at the center of the earth. Is it just like 0 o'clock all the time, or
Greenwich Mean Time? I think.
Okay. Oh, there you go. The Doom clock. That's a bad joke. All right. So, Dennis, thank the chat, and I'll get to the patrons here real quick.
I just wanted to say, Mako says, I think Dennis is one of his robots. He always drinks coconut milk. I'm just refilling the cortical fluid. Okay, it leaks a lot. That's all it is.
Yeah, Dennis's narrative has been on a loop for quite a while. Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about. What were we talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, never gets old. Thank you, Movie Fanobi, Pen Farm Girl, Thomas Charter, Omari Daniels, Mako, Artemis Over Easy, and Viking Bitch, Ed Brewer, Jody, how's your father? Luke Lucas, Bad Wobot. Again, thank you for the $5. That was awesome of you. Excuse me here, Zachary White, and I know there's quite a few of you that are in here, so I'm scrolling up. Logan McLeod, because you gave us actually some really good stuff. Luke Lucas, which I believe I just said your name, but I'm saying it again because you know why? We like you. And Pen Farm Girl, again, just because of the $1.99, which I came above there. And all the rest of you that I can't get to at the moment because I can't scroll up far enough.
But thank you for taking the time to chat. We really do appreciate it. And I do go back and listen to every podcast, so I'll see you in there. Okay. I also want to announce all of our wonderful patrons. We have 27 now, so we got a new one. We got John Bellman. Welcome, John Bellman. Dakota Stanton, Penn Farm Girl, Apple Crow, Christian at Echo 9, Shakuri Lama, Eric, Richard Seth Jones, Viking Bitch, Morks, Luke Lucas, Mech Heist, Ed Brewer, Logan McLeod, Feisty Fan, Lawrence Howe, Isaiah Norton, Fan on Rough, Tiger Maskin RH, Battle Marcus 8, John Nada, Rubicon Alpha, Johnny Pappas, JD Gallo, Brian Smart, Steve D, and Arturo Espinoza. You are most wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
And I also want to announce real quick, Legion fans, hey, do yourself a favor. Could you just like hashtag Save the Expanse and binge the Expanse tomorrow night between say 7 and 9 Eastern time. Even if you don't watch it, just to help us out, we'd really appreciate it. Do check out the show. I think you'd really like it. Yeah, because Expanse fans are really great and would be very helpful if a show was ever in trouble. They'd be a very good ally to have.
One good turn deserves another, so I'm pretty sure that's what's going to need to be happening with this show, Legion.
Yep. Also on Expanse, we're gonna have a prize. I have purchased 5 separate copies of season 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. Okay, that are
Nice.
going to go to just 5 random commenters or chatters from all our videos. It'll be kind of a raffle kind of thing. So, and I'll announce that tomorrow. And maybe we'll have a Legion prize. You know what? I'll have a Legion prize next week. I'll think of one. Well, maybe some comics or something like that. I'll figure it out. So tune in next week for that. Again, thank you everybody. All our schedule is at nerdrotic.com, so you can see what we recap and what time. Our next show is tomorrow night. I was going to flip-flop it, but I can't now because Expanse is taking priority. So Expanse is going to be at 8:15 Pacific time for the live recap. And then we're going to do Krypton at 10:30 or 11.
Krypton.
And then Friday night, we have our live podcast where we will be reviewing Solo. Dennis, take us out.
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.